In the roughly 6 years since the character's last on-screen appearance on the big screen, and the roughly 25 years since the character's debut, Jean Grey is a character that has managed to capture a consistent fanbase in and out of the comic book world. With her prominent role and powerful abilities within the X-Men universe, it comes as no surprise that the Dark Phoenix has been leaked to make her debut within the video game of Marvel Rivals. From comic book beginnings debuting as far back as the X-Men #1 in 1963 to a video game powerhouse in the present day, the future has never been brighter for Jean Grey. Welcome everyone to another episode of New Meta, where we discuss the potential movesets for highly anticipated leaked heroes in the future for Marvel Rivals. If you guys enjoy this series, please make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe with the notification bell icon turned on to stay up to date with the latest news on games like Marvel Rivals. Now without further ado, for today's episode we'll be discussing Jean Grey, the Dark Phoenix. Quick disclaimer that the following video is expressly all my opinion, and by no means am I stating that this is the only way to work the character. Also, the leaked aspect of this video is not clickbait, but rather based on existing Marvel Rivals leaks for upcoming heroes as reported by multiple sources and news outlets such as Sports Illustrated. This video was never claimed to be a gameplay leak video and is merely discussing the concept of the hero. Thank you and enjoy. With the success of Marvel Rivals and its increasing catalog of characters, recent takes from various online sources have hinted at the debut of Jean Grey alongside other mutant characters within Marvel Rivals. The same sources have also stated that Jean Grey will be included as a duelist DPS character. So in today's video, the moveset we construct for her will be based on this specialty classification. But before we dive into that, let's briefly get a better idea into who Jean Grey really is. Born as the second daughter to parents John and Elaine Grey, their daughter Jean Elaine Grey came into a loving and caring family all throughout her early youth. She lived a fairly normal life up until her mutant abilities began to manifest themselves the day that her friend was struck and killed by an oncoming car. Upon this traumatic experience, Jean linked with her friend telepathically during the moment of impact, which nearly killed her and left her in a comatose state. This scare led Jean's parents to seek help of Charles Xavier, who locked away her telepathic abilities until she was older. After some time, into her teen years, Xavier recruited Jean to become a part of the X-Men. Sometime later, she begins a relationship with Cyclops, and during an emergency space mission, Jean sacrifices herself piloting the shuttle back to Earth. In her final moments, she calls out, and the Phoenix Force answers. Taking up the physical and mental appearance of Jean Grey and believing itself to be the real Jean Grey, the Phoenix Force takes her place in the X-Men and goes on several missions to save the world, until it eventually gets a taste of evil and it corrupts itself to become the Dark Phoenix. While Jean does go on to regain control of herself and subdue the Phoenix Force, it is likely that within Marvel Rivals we will see a duality of Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force be featured within her varied moveset. As such, Jean's powers will include telepathy and pyrokinesis mixed between the two. Due to this, she will skip out on a direct passive ability and instead be relegated to having a passive ability linked to a team-up with a different character such as either Emma Frost or Cyclops. Her passive could be the ability to increase the percentage of her ultimate ability charge based on her ability to take damage and survive the encounter. Jean's primary attack would be a Psychic Blast, where Jean fires a pink concussive blast projectile that arches at longer ranges while also doing splash damage. The distinction of opting for this blast instead of a psionic burst is to prevent overlap with other characters such as the Invisible Woman. Alternate fire mode of this would see Jean charge up multiple psionic blast clusters and chain them together in rapid succession to deal large amounts of damage. Her stability would focus on transportation, particularly her flight achieved via telekinetic powers. Jean would be able to sustain free flight for a limited duration of time, similar to how Scarlet Witch is able to, but without. Next ability would be a link-up ability where Jean would be able to share in any bonuses applied to a nearby teammate. If a teammate is being given a shield in proximity, Jean will take a percentage of that boost and apply it to herself. Same thing would apply for if any ally is being healed to allow Jean a percentage of health recovery, as well as if a teammate receives a damage boost named off of a team-up, Jean would be able to obtain a percentage of this damage boost for the duration of the ability. Jean's third ability would be a Psychic Shard Blast, where Jean quickly manifests a small wall of psychic shards to then rapidly fire all of them in a spread shot of the general vicinity where the crosshairs is pointing. And for Jean's ultimate ability, all the pent-up rage lets loose as the Phoenix Force takes over, and she becomes the embodiment of it, known as the Dark Phoenix. The startup animation for this would see Jean disintegrating to ashes briefly as a flash reveals her reborn as the Dark Phoenix with a slightly larger health pool, where her moveset becomes a pyrotechnic one. During this, the Dark Phoenix spreads her fiery wings as she soars above everyone else high up in the sky, and she gains the ability to send out a wave of fire in a set direction, where it can damage multiple enemies as an area of denial attack. Fire Volley is the other offensive ability with high damage and a charge-up effect that highlights the area before unleashing a barrage of fireballs to said area. And at the end of her phase, the Phoenix Dive allows her to lock onto an area for her to land on and unleash a heat wave that does immediate moderate damage to any enemies within the range of its small to medium radius. When it comes to how Jean Grey, the Dark Phoenix, can be narratively introduced within Marvel Rivals, there's really only a few options, with one being the most likely. The options come down to any situation in the comics that Jean has been in where the Dark Phoenix has managed to take over. However, with the leaks also stating that Emma Frost will be arriving to the game, then it is most likely that the story will involve some sort of love triangle between Emma Frost, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, where Jean discovers that Emma had feelings for Cyclops, and the jealousy causes her to give in to the Phoenix Force. Not saying that this is the only narrative way to introduce her, and seeing how Marvel Rivals picks stories from spanning various iterations of our beloved characters, it's hard to say for sure until more leaks arrive and we get more information. These are just my suggestions though, but what do you guys think? Should Jean Grey be added as a duelist DPS character, or should she join the ranks as another role? What changes would you make? And which plausible hero or villain would you like to see next? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video if you guys did enjoy, dislike it if you didn't, and let me know as I read all the feedback. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.